Kyle Moore is joining us, the mayor of Quincy.
Busy 48 hours for you.
It has been, and it'll be a busy few months for us cleaning up after this storm.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's very important that you bring up that people don't expect and have anticipation that this is going to be cleaned up in a week or so, because it's going to take some time, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take a greater part of the end of this week just to make sure that all the streets of the city of Quincy are passable. There's quite a few that we did a city assessment this afternoon, and there's quite a few that you can't pass or only have one lane available. So that's going to take a large chunk of our efforts. And then we've been very fortunate that the Quincy Park District has lent their helping hands to city efforts to clear the streets, and so we've seen the condition of Madison Park, and we're going to want to help out the Park District just as the same way as they've helped us out. So it's going to be some time, and we're, especially with debris cleanup where people are putting their debris on the right of way, it's going to take us a considerable amount of time to get to that, but rest assured, once the streets are passable, then we'll get to an overall cleanup.
Yeah, it's hard to believe when you look at the debris that's out there and see the damage that was done that absolutely no one was hurt or killed in this, and the storm that went through here last night.
We're very fortunate that God blessed us, with no fatalities or injuries, and I think people were very safe. And I credit the media for alerting citizens not only about the storm, but what to do afterwards. And we asked the citizens to stay off the roads as much as possible, to not call 911 unless it was a life safety issue. And for the most part, people obliged us in that request. And really, when you look at it, we had a pretty successful night, and the fact that we were able to mobilize such a large amount of crews to start the cleanup process.
Mary, you had mentioned the cleanup. You are using the snow routes first, right? We're clearing those so we have that same type of exposure to get through town.
That's 100% correct. So we divided our crews up, and we have a mix of crews of city crews, Park District, county, in some instances, and then private contractors. And they're going starting with the snow routes. And so you'll see the major thoroughfares done first, and then we'll get to some of the side streets. So unfortunately, I know it can be frustrating if you live in a subdivision and maybe there's only 6 houses at the end of your cul-de-sac and you have a tree down. I know it can be frustrating, but first and foremost, we have to make sure the major thoroughfares are cleared and that the streets are passable for our first responders.
I think the biggest question for a lot of people is, when are we going to get our power back on, and what have you been hearing out of Ameren today?
Well, Ameren's came down really aggressive in fighting this with us, and I can't thank them enough for sending as many crews as they have. Hopefully a majority of the city of Quincy will have power restored really by the end of the night or first thing in the morning. But there's going to be a large section, especially on the southeast part of town, and I live at 28th and Hampshire, and they're considering that southeast. And for my own house, it's not going to be online until mid-afternoon tomorrow. So we're just asking patience. And I know that when it gets hot outside, people might get a little uncomfortable. They might get a little upset. But rest assured, Ameren is throwing their whole weight of their corporation behind this to try to get us back online.
And I know the city's working well with the people. Obviously, they all have problems now with freezers and food, and you got collection sites for them, right?
That's correct. So we set up collection sites at the Quincy Mall in the north parking lot, at Q Stadium in their parking lot, John Wood Community College, the Quincy Park District headquarters, and we originally had said Quincy Notre Dame parking lot, but there were a lot of live wires around that, so we moved that just recently to the Hy-Vee on Harrison. So we tried to make it as convenient as possible for you in your neighborhoods, but certainly use that for your food that have been spoiled. Don't try to eat anything that has been in your fridge or freezer the last couple days. Don't take a risk on it. And we just want to remind people, don't take your yard waste debris to those collection sites. That'll be collected at a later date.
Mr. Mayor, we want to take the opportunity to thank all of the city workers, the Quincy Fire Department, the Quincy Police Department, all of the EMS workers that have been working for so very long over these last 24 hours to ensure that everybody's safe.
Well, I know they appreciate it, and I tell you what, it just, I can't tell you the respect that I have for these men and women who work these countless hours. And I was out this afternoon before going to a meeting, speaking with a few members of our Central Services crew who are cutting trees, and it's hot out there, folks, and they were, just glad to get a cold bottle of water. So, if you see them, be sure to wave, and that's kind of why we're telling people to stay off the streets as much as possible, because when they're navigating cars coming in and out of the streets that they're trying to clear, it makes it a little bit tougher for them to do their job.
Yeah, especially when we're getting close here. 3.5 hours is going to be dark. Everybody should just calmly stay at home and, like you say, have patience. That brush and debris in your yard in the subdivision is not going to hurt us for a couple of weeks.
And it's not going to go anywhere.
No,
in the next couple of days. And, one of the things I also, while I have the opportunity, be very careful with contractors who are offering to remove debris and cut down trees. We've offered for anybody to call our city engineering department, and we can check to see if a contractor is IDOT certified, which just means they have a certain level of insurance. But even if they aren't IDOT certified, no matter who you use, make sure that the contractor does the work before you write that check and pay them. You don't want to be taken for a ride, and so be very vigilant and make sure that your family is as well.
One quick question, Mayor. Do you happen to know, is Blessing Hospital on full power now again? Do you know?
I don't want to speak to that. I believe that they were getting back online, but I can't tell you with 100% certainty because I was not at the 5 o'clock meeting to tonight.
Okay, I was just wondering about them and our rest homes here in town, because we have quite a few of those, that if they're up to power and if they've been taken care of. So.
Yeah, there was not a large concern. Most of them, had power, or at least the hospital did, and then if not, the certain campus had a backup generator. But that really is something we were concerned with at first. But right now, it seems those fears have been alleviated.
Fantastic.
All right, for those who may have joined our conversation again, can you just update us one more time on what Ameren is saying?
Sure. So Ameren, Ameren has brought crews in from all across Illinois, and so a large amount of households in Quincy should see power restored late tonight, early tomorrow morning. There is going to be a section of town, southeast portion, basically 18th and Broadway, south and east. That could be tomorrow afternoon. So we're just asking patience, and we certainly appreciate Ameren throwing their entire weight of their corporation in the city of Quincy to help us get back online.
It's Mayor Kyle Moore. Thank you so very much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Okay.